What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Flash Fiction Friday with AB Frank. Now, before we get into this week's story, this week's piece of Flash Fiction, I just want to say that Flash Fiction Friday with AB Frank should be a podcast at the point now that you're listening or watching this. So, go over to whatever podcast provider you use, if you use one, if you don't get one, and search Flash Fiction Friday with AB Frank, and you can start listening on there rather than YouTube if that's what you prefer. So, now that's out of the way with. This week I decided on the genre of folk horror, and I generated a word, an object or a noun, wealth, and an action or a verb, spring. So I've got folk horror as a genre, wealth as the object, spring as the action. And the story I've titled The Spring, Creatively, Ingeniously. Enjoy. He scrambled through the valley, flanked by steep mossy slopes and ancient trees. Water flows over sharp rocks through the centre of the valley from deep within the woods. The stream rushes over small drops and foams on the rocks below. Undeterred, he passes on in his pursuit of the spring that feeds the stream. How he would negotiate a drink from the spring upon his arrival, he knew not. Eventually, he spotted the trickle that was the water source. The land gently introduced it into the world. He grinned and dabbed sweat from his face into the crook of his elbow. The spring that provides eternal wealth to anyone who drinks from it was within reach. Then the rustle of leaves, trickle of water, and birdsong all ceased, and a silent void replaced it. "So you think the spring will be your source of wealth?" said an ethereal voice emanating from all around him. He looked everywhere, but saw nobody. "I do," he shouted up to the canopy. "What are you willing to sacrifice for a drink from the spring?" He gazed at the silent trickle of water emerging from the rocks like lifeblood. "Everything." "Very well, you may proceed." He went to his knees and put his lips to the mouth of the spring. He savoured long gulps with closed eyes. "You have drank from the spring. Now your sacrifice is due," said the voice. All the sounds of the wild returned at once. The mouth of the spring opened wide and swallowed him. His sacrifice, everything. He was gone. The spring fed the stream again, which in turn became a waterfall. The end.